Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm super excited to dive into today's conversation with Trina Julius. Now, Trina has been a preschool photographer for the last 10 years, and over that time, she's photographed over 15,000 children in her mini session outdoor play and portraits. In the last year, she's been building an education side of her business with a focus on teaching other photographers how to incorporate preschool, childcare photography into their portrait and family photography businesses. I am so excited to dive into this topic with her today, learning more about playful and fun sessions. So, welcome, Trina.
Oh, hello, welcome. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and just shine a spotlight on preschool photography.
Yes, it's so funny because you hear a lot about senior photography, but you really don't hear that much about preschool photography and kindy photography. So, can you share a little bit more about that and sort of how you found your passion in there?
Yeah, sure. So preschool photography is that age before school. So if they're in childcare, anywhere from like 6 months on to about 4 or 5 year olds. And I'm not sure wherever you are, what your setup is in your country, but here in Australia, so I'm from Australia, from Brisbane in Queensland, and we have, I particularly do 4 to 5 year olds, which is that year before they go off to big school. So what I do is I go into the centre, the kindy we call them, and I take photos of the children out in the yard playing. I set them up in like different little areas. I take them on like an obstacle course, and I take 10 to 15 different photos of them doing that, as well as some portrait photos. So yeah, I
I
just
love
love
that.
it.
I love that. So, is this something that you're arranging with the school, or is this something that you're arranging with parents?
I'm arranging it with the kindergarten, so they get me to come in on their behalf and take the photos, and then I, get the parents to register with me, and then I show them the photos via online galleries.
Love that. I love that. So, how did you get started in this niche? Because this definitely is niche photography, and I love discovering different avenues of how we can all be photographers.
Yeah, so it started way back when my kids were young. My kids are teenage boys, like
Yeah.
14 and 18 now. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so it started when the kindy that my boys were going to, they said, "Hey, we know you're a photographer." I was just starting out, was trying all different sorts of genres, trying to find what fitted with me and my personality and my lifestyle. And they said, "How about you give us a go? Like, do you want to come in and do all the photographs for the kids?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Not realizing quite at that stage just what was involved,
Yeah.
and what I needed to have, like at the setup, at the background of all the administration that goes with it. But yeah, I got in there, I did it. I had 80 kids, I did them in about 2 days. 10 to 15 different photos of each child, and I loved it. I just remember feeling that, oh my gosh, I've found what's for me and what suits my personality. And yeah, it just was so much fun. So
I love that. I'm a
yeah,
baby photographer through and through, so babies
yeah.
are my jams. But I know that feeling when you're just like doing what you're meant to be doing, and like that artist's high you almost get, like just being creative and like just being in your passion. It is
Yeah.
so fulfilling. So
Yeah.
with 4 to 5 year olds, they are hilarious. They are just wild cards. So, can you share a little bit about focusing specifically on this age and maybe some things that you've noticed with working with them?
Yeah, so this age, there's all different sorts of personalities. So you've got to be able to quickly adapt to each child and their personality and work them out, I guess,
Yeah.
quickly. And, every time I'm at a different kindy, a different center, I come across so many different personalities. But, they might be really crazy and fun and really outgoing and keen, or they might be really shy and a little bit reserved. And you just need to work with them and just find what sort of clicks with them, whether you talk about their family or their pets, or you encourage them to do climbing or swinging, and just saying, "Can you show me what you do on the slide?" And, "Can you get up there? And, I'm going to take some pictures of you coming down." So, once you get halfway down, remember to look at the monkey on the camera, and just really getting them involved in the whole process. And they're often quite surprised that they get to do all the play things in the yard with me. So, but yeah, they find it, and when they're running off back inside to the kindy, they're like, "Yeah, that was fun. That was so much fun." So
I
yeah,
I love it because when you think of traditional food like school photography and school portraits, like we all get them. Like I remember my son, like I actually never even purchased any of the school photography going through it with him. Like
Yeah.
we always just had the sample ones and it was so funny and that's all we really needed because it was hilarious, right? So I love that you've kind of reimagined what school photography can be and it's
Mm.
more of like showing off their personality just instead of showing off their goofy 4 or 5 year old smile. Do you ever get like them wanting to do like besties sessions or like getting with their best friend and taking pictures with them too?
Oh, yeah, that is starting to be a thing. I have to be careful with privacy though, because I'm
Yeah.
showing online galleries. I have to get permission from
Yeah.
each parent of, the best friends. And I just love those photos though, because they just light up whenever they're sitting next to their best friend. They play off each other, and that's when I get the real genuine stuff, the real genuine smiles, because they're with their bestie and they're, having a laugh and a giggle, and I get them to do like little competitions between each other. So yeah, that's I love doing those. It's not often that I do them, but yeah, definitely if a request comes through, I'm like, yeah, great, that's no problem. Just get the other parent to send me an email and happy to do it for you. So because I
That's
show the
awesome.
photos in their galleries of both of them together, it's just a privacy thing that I need to make sure that I'm adhering to.
I love that. So, when you're doing it, how are you doing these as packages? Is this something that they purchase ahead of time when they've picked what they want, or is it like you do the session and then they purchase the prints after?
Yeah, so I get them to register with me, and it's a $35 deposit. So they
Hmm.
pay that up front, and then that just allows me permission to photograph them for one. And then they get to choose what they like from the gallery. There's all different packages and they start at $35. So they use that deposit as credit towards this package that they want to spend on. So, yeah, so I have all different packages from one photo only right up to all the photos in their gallery. So, I
Yeah,
don't ceiling their spend. I let them spend as much as they want to with me.
totally.
So, yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. We recently went on a family trip to it's a historic town in British Columbia called Barkerville. And we had just paid our deposit. And this was my husband, my son, and I. And what they do is they dress you up in like historical garb, whether it be like Western or saloon or just whatever
Mm.
they've got there. And what I found fascinating was they only took one photo of our family.
Wow.
And my husband was prepared to be there for hours. I was prepared to spend like I was ready to have fun. My family was on board with playing dress up with me, which is my favorite thing to do. And we were going to do it. And she just snapped 2 photos and she
Oh,
gave us
wow.
one. And that was it. And I was like, I can't even believe the missed opportunity this company
Absolutely.
is having with every single um, family because I was like, we're on our family vacation. We never do family photos. I'm a photographer. Like, we
Yeah.
haven't had a family photo shoot since like 2015. Like this is our
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah. Take
so
it
I
most
was
of it, make the
prepared
most
to
of it.
spend. So I really love that you haven't capped that because I think that's so important.
Mm.
Just realizing that people really do want to spend money on something that is important and meaningful, and especially when it's looking at their children and
Yeah.
that moment in time for them.
Yeah.
That's just I love that. That's so great of you.
That was where my idea was born, because I remember when my kids were young and I got one photo, I was like, I would have bought everything if they would have just offered it to me, because he
Yeah.
looked so adorable. And I mean, mind you, it was just a backdrop photo, but I wanted more. And that's what I thought. I want to give parents more. And that's what parents have come back to me with feedback is like, oh, I was so surprised. The photographer last year, she just took one photo, he or she. Um,
Yeah.
and I was so surprised to see how many great photos you had in your gallery, and I just wanted them all. I couldn't choose. I just wanted them all. And that's like, yes, I've done my job.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly. And I think just making it easy for people to say, I want them all, and just like, this is the price for all. And then
yeah,
it's so surprising at when you do offer that, like, 'cause in our heads, we think, oh no, like, they're never going to pay that.
no,
And
no,
actually, it is so much easier if you say, okay, Lisa, this is the price for one, and this is the price for all. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm just going to get all because I have decision fatigue. I can't make a decision.
yeah.
I want all of them. I want the funny faces of my child. Like, right? So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I
So
think it's
yeah,
brilliant.
so I love giving them that choice, and then they want them all. And then I offer them upgrades on all as well.
Yeah.
So they could get, prints of every photo in their gallery and,
Yeah.
add on frames in albums. I just don't cap it at them because you just never know what a
Mm-mm.
parent wants to spend. You can never assume. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. So how much time would you say you're spending with each child?
Depends on their age group. So if they're a
Yeah.
4 or 5 year old, I'd spend between 5 and 8 minutes. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty quick. Like I have
Yeah.
in my head a little scenario for like a little obstacle course that I take them on, and I just set them up and I go, okay, let's go here and here and here and here. And then, I finish within 5 to 8 minutes. It depends on the personality of the child too. If they're a bit younger, we spend a little bit longer and we allow for that in our morning. So generally, though, we're working with 4 to 5 year olds, and they're so easy to work with. They
Oh, they're
just follow
fun.
directions so well. So
They're so
yeah, I
I
love
love them. I did holiday mini sessions for years, and that age group was probably my favorite. They're just
them.
like they're so sweet. I love
Absolutely.
that. I love
They tell
that.
you little stories, and I
Yeah.
love hearing about their family and the pets that they have at home. It's just lovely.
Now, do you ever run into a situation where you've got a really shy one who may have a little bit of camera fear or maybe a past experience maybe with a photographer that didn't go so well? And
Yeah.
how do you turn that around?
And I just start off gently with them. I actually have my phone with me, and I show them photos of my puppies and just anything I can just find to connect with them. I just ask them about them, and I really concentrate on just finding out about them. And then I say, where would you like to go in the kindergarten? What's your favorite thing to do? You tell me. I just sort of tread gently with them. If that's not working, I ask them to go choose a friend and bring out a friend to sit with them or go around the obstacle course with them. So usually if that's not, working, um, an educator comes out with them. So usually if I try all those three things, I usually get them. If not, I just carry on with the rest of the students, and then I just go back to them at some point when they've seen what's happening through the morning, seen their other friends coming in all excited after the photos. And if they're playing quietly in a corner or off in the yard somewhere, I then just sneak up and just take a few photos for mum and dad.
I love that.
Yeah, and get
Do
whatever
you
I
ever
can.
run into a situation where they have like a special item that they are particularly attached to that they want included in their photos?
Yes. Yeah, and I encourage that. I mean,
Yeah.
anything that helps them make feel comfortable with the session, have absolutely happy. And when mum and dad are looking back on those photos, they'll remember that item as something that their child really loved at that point. So I think that's important to include.
Yeah, I love that. I think my son's also 14 and coming out the other side, I remember like when he was little fighting with him so much. He had this special blanket he called Guggy, and it was this knit blanket my grandma had made. And I wish that we had photographed it more and it was in more photos instead of trying to take it away from him and
Yeah.
embraced Guggy versus like because he would take it and he would have these knots on it and he would rub it against his little nose.
Oh,
And it was just the most precious little thing that I'm looking back now. But at the time I was like, oh my gosh, that darn blanket, just like get it out
yeah.
of the shot, right? But like that's the hindsight of like
Yes. That's the
just look
story when they're that
right.
young. That's what you want to remember. Those stories are the important parts, right?
Oh,
So,
just the smell of the blanket. Like,
yeah. Maybe not the smell.
right? He really loved that thing.
Yeah, I see some pretty worn out little toys come in, and some,
Oh,
teddy bears. They look like they've been well loved.
well loved,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Now, I'm assuming you probably would have to work really efficiently. Are you working solo in this? Like, do you have an assistant or how are you keeping it as efficient as possible?
Yeah, so first of all, I started without anyone, and that was crazy. I was just doing it on my own, and I was so exhausted at the end of the
Yeah.
morning. So then I worked up to having an assistant who would bring the children out for me. So how I work it is I have the children do indoor play while I take them outdoors. It just keeps their attention and focus on me, so I can get it done quicker for the teachers, so they can carry on with their day. So that's really important part of it. And having that assistant go in and bring the children out, brings out two or three at a time. And then I kind of worked up to, in the last couple of years, I have another photographer with me instead. So we're taking a child each and we're taking them on the playground each. So, as I've got older, I'm less energetic. So I need that extra,
No.
another photographer there, which is also really great to bounce ideas off during the morning. Oh, I found a great light spot over here, or this is a great equipment, they love this over here. So we bounce off each other, which is really fun, and we have lots of fun while we're working too together. So
I love that. So,
yeah.
are you primarily doing just kindergarten photography? Is that like your bread and butter?
Yes. Yeah. So I
Awesome.
do it during the week and during weekdays and during school terms, we call them over here. I
Yeah.
don't know what you call them where you are,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I don't work school holidays. I don't work public holidays. I don't
Yeah.
work weekends. I
Yeah.
sometimes take family sessions now on weekends. When I was first starting out, a lot of my kidney parents would contact me to do family sessions. So
Ah,
but as I just got into the business and got busier and busier, I just did not need to do family sessions at all because I was
yeah.
too busy keeping
Ah,
up with doing at least one center every week. So, yeah, so
wow.
it's pretty much my bread and butter, my
That's
full-time gig. Yeah,
so are you
yeah.
traveling to other areas of Australia too to do this, or is it just primarily in your area?
It's mostly, well, all in my area. I have one center that I travel about 3 hours away for, and they have hired me to come out. They pay for my accommodation and my travel to go out there for 3 nights and photograph the children at their kindergarten. And I love going out there. They're just such a beautiful little community. It's sort of inland Australia a little bit, so it's not as big, but they love me coming out every year for them.
Ah, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So, are there any unique challenges that you run into when you're encountering them, and how do you overcome them?
I guess one of the biggest challenges is with volume photography. You're dealing
Mhm.
with lots and lots of parents and lots of different, I guess, wishes in regards to how they want their photos. So, I try to be very upfront about my process, what's involved, what to expect. I give lots of information on my website about the process. Frequently asked questions. So as long as I'm very communicative with parents, I find that that process works really well. Not every parent reads, which is probably one of my biggest
I know.
my
What?
biggest bugbears. But I try to contact them as in all forms of communication, whether it be flyers, whether it be emailed information from the centre, text messaging. So I'm doing my best to cover all bases, but still, there's just that small percentage that turn up and go, "Oh, I didn't know it was photo day," and you're
Right?
like, "Oh."
She dressed herself today. Like,
Yes, you're just like, oh, well, we've had lots of time to give you all the information. There's been posters on the wall. You've had a flyer given to you. So that's probably one of the challenging aspects of it.
yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, the administration side of it too is a big part because there is a lot to do and a lot to keep on top of. And, that's just one thing that I've really got down to a fine art now is having that workflow that I've it's streamlined it and made it really quick and easy to get those photos taken, to get them edited, to get them up on a gallery and ready for the parents to look at and purchase because that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I need. So yeah.
Do you ever run into a situation where either the child hasn't cooperated at all, so you haven't gotten anything, or the parents are requesting a reshoot? And how do you deal with
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So if they're like this particularly happens with toddlers. So toddlers are always a little bit, stranger danger. And, we will try our best. We'll do what we can. But if they're upset or if they're just not wanting us to come anywhere near them, we're just okay, no problem. Just contact the parents and I refund their deposit that they've paid. I just say, look, we were unable to this year. Maybe next year when, your little one's a little bit older, we'll be able to capture something lovely for you. But in regards to reshoots, I am very upfront in the beginning. If they don't like anything in their gallery, which is usually 10 to 15 different photos, which is very, very rare. I think over the course of my time, I probably had two or three that contacted me and said, there's usually different reason. It's like, oh, I didn't like any of the photos because I didn't like what my child was wearing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what can I do
I can't
about that?
control that. Yeah, you made
That's
that
what you
choice.
dressed them in to go to kindy with. Or, oh, I don't like the way that my child's hairs was styled. Somebody styled their hair the wrong way. And it's like, we don't touch their hair. Whatever they come in with, we might just brush it out of their face or just make sure it's a little bit tidy, but I never do any redo of hairstyles at all.
Yeah,
So, that can be a funny one sometimes. And
yeah.
then, there's that wasn't my child's smile. It's like, okay, I'm not, we do our best, but we're only just meeting these children and we've got 5 to 10 minutes with them. We do our absolute best to get a genuine smile. But so there's very few and far between because usually they'll find something in their gallery that will connect with them that they can purchase.
I think that's
Yeah.
so important is like, it happened to me years ago and I was really kind of taken aback by it. I had a client, oh gosh, it was probably one of my first years, and they were just so critical and so mean about their child and the way they looked. And I was
Oh,
just like, oh, it just broke my heart. Like, I was like,
yeah.
Mama, what are you doing? Like, the
I
photography's
know.
great. Your child looks great,
Yeah.
and
And
that was really a hard situation. So parents
yeah.
that are a little bit harder on their children than necessary always break my heart.
Yeah, we just never know what's going on, with
No.
them. We don't know what's happening in their lives, and they just don't realize it at the point. And, they might look back in years to come and go, that was beautiful. Those photos were
Yeah.
beautiful. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I
I
just
don't know.
I always give them a little bit of slack because I think, they've got young kids. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a 14 and a 18-year-old now. It's so easy. Like,
Yeah.
I do remember that time when they're young and it's hard. It's,
Oh, yeah.
so.
Yeah. It's so
Unfortunately,
true.
sometimes the photographer might bear the brunt, but I'm
Yeah.
polite, I'm kind, I'm considerate, and say that's okay, no problems.
I love
Yeah.
that. So, are there any essential tools or resources photographers that might be looking to incorporate or get started in this niche that you can recommend?
Yeah, so, oh gosh, there's anything from the equipment that I photograph with on site. So I use a mirrorless Canon camera, which I love because the new facial tracking is just a game changer for
Yeah.
kids photography.
I
So
bet.
yeah, so I use that. I use a 50 mil prime lens as well, and I'm always shooting at like 2.0,
Yeah.
2.2 to get a really lovely background. And then on the administration side of it, it's just having really good gallery software that you can use that is intuitive and you can customize to make sure that your process is it works really well. So and parents can order easily. So I use a particular one called Citus. It's not a really well known one, but we in Australia don't have access to software such as Got Photo or Picture Day or ProofPix or a few of the other ones. It's just not it's just not available for Australians, which is really odd. I've talked to the software
Right.
developers a few times and said,
Uh,
"Hey, come on board to the Australians,
what's
help
different
us
in
out."
Australia?
I don't know. It's sometimes it's the suppliers that provide the prints, so you can get
Mm,
fulfillment done by print labs of
yeah.
any prints that parents order. But I do self-fulfilling, so I send
Yeah.
off my prints to my own private lab, and that works well for me. But yeah, it's just finding the right software that fits your
Yeah.
business. Yeah.
Love that. So, any tips on staying organized with having that many clients?
Yeah, like my motto is prior preparation prevents poor performance. And I'm a huge
Hmm.
believer in that. I've always prepared. I'm always organized up front before I start at the center. I have, all my folders organized. I have, just the process, or I've got emails or pre-written that I send out at particular points. It's just, making sure that you've got all those things ready to go so it can just happen as you work through the process. So, yeah, just being organized up front. And because as soon as you take the photos, you want that quick turnaround to the parents. I don't like my parents having to wait any longer than 5 days to see their child's photos. I love getting them out quickly because then they're surprised. So yeah, yeah.
Has there been any session or child that's been particularly memorable and become one of your favorite sessions? And if so, can you
Mm.
share the story with us?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Um, I'm just thinking back to one particular one who was a few months ago, and she was just adorable. She had me in stitches. Like she was like, can we go over here? Can I have my photo taken here? And she giggled the whole way through. I did not have to prompt her at all. She run the session on me. She was like, oh, I like climbing up here. Can we go here? I'm like, yes. And then she grabbed a book and she opened it up and she's like, she'd sit on the ground and she's like giggling at it. And then she'd look up at me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, she's doing my job for me. Yeah. So, and then at the end, she's like, can I have more? And I'm like, oh gosh, I would love to. I could have just taken 100 photos of this little one because she was just so cute. I just said, oh, I have to photograph other children now. Thank you. Yeah. So I love it when they're like that. She was just
I know
adorable.
when they're
Yeah.
so cooperative and they're like so into it. Like it
Yeah.
just is like, you are my favorite. I love you so much. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, oh, I've got two boys. I'm like, oh, I love you.
I know. I have
I
a
want a
son.
girl.
I have a son. Right. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to dive into our lightning round?
Oh, yes. I'm excited about your lightning round.
Okay. So, if you like to cook, what do you like to cook the most?
Oh, my favorite is banana bread. My
Oh,
kids love my banana bread. So, yeah.
yum. Favorite movie?
Oh gosh. There's I don't know. Oh, I'm trying to think. Oh, The Holiday. I love The Holiday.
Oh,
I watch that every year. That's my
I watch
favorite.
that like
Yep.
13 times every year. Like
Oh,
that
yeah.
is on repeat. I love that. What did you want to be when you grew up as a kid?
I started off my working career as a nurse. So I always wanted to be a nurse. I went right through my nursing education. I was a registered nurse for 15 years and then I swapped into photography. So I guess that's what I wanted to be. But
Yeah.
yeah, things change, don't they? So
Yeah. I love that. I love it. Go-to song that lifts you up when you're down.
yeah. um, just anything on the pop charts, really. I just
Yeah.
love just listening to the top 10. I don't know if you know Guy Sebastian over there in
Yep.
the States. You
Yep.
do? Oh, okay.
Yep.
He's got lots of great songs.
Yeah.
So I usually put his album on and sing along in the car. Yeah.
I love it. I love that. Favorite guilty or not so guilty pleasure?
Ah, chocolate.
Yeah.
Totally guilty pleasure because I'm a diabetic. So I
Oh,
have, so it's a very guilty pleasure.
yeah.
So I have a little bit.
Little pieces. I
Yeah.
love it. Oceans or mountains and why?
Oh, definitely mountains. Yeah. So yeah, even though I live fairly close to the sea, I still,
Oh,
yeah, just the scenery and the,
yeah,
just, yeah,
I
definitely.
love that. I live in central British Columbia, so I live around mountains and I'm such an ocean girl.
Oh,
Like,
sometimes I think
give
we're
me
born in the wrong
ocean.
spot.
I love it. What's your favorite comfort food?
Well, chocolate biscuits.
Chocolate. I love it. Yeah.
Again, totally the wrong
And
thing for me, but that would be my comfort food. Yeah.
yeah. What is something you've accomplished as an adult that your younger self would be proud of?
I think just running my own business and
Yeah.
just having that confidence and that, to get myself out there. And even now that I'm starting to educate as well in the field, just to stand up and just, show the way that I do things. I think my younger self would be so proud of me because I was a little shyer when I was younger. So I think my younger self would be like, wow, look at you go, girl. Yeah.
I love
So,
it.
yeah.
Love it. What are you most grateful for in this season of life?
Wow. I'm grateful for my family, of course, and my beautiful friends. But I'm just so grateful to be able to run my own business, have that freedom and flexibility for my lifestyle, I guess. Yeah.
I love that. What has been the best piece of business advice you've ever been given?
Yes, there's been so much. I guess the planning side of it, planning and making sure you're ahead. That saying that I said before, prior preparation prevents poor performance. That I was told that many, many years ago, and probably about 20 years ago now. So, and I just live by that. And as long as I feel organized, I feel on top of things. So, yeah, so that's all I can give forward to new photographers coming forward is just be organized and have your ducks in a row.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you wish more photographers knew?
Ah, I guess I wish they would just follow what their passion is, follow what suits their personalities. Don't do what's popular, do what you want to do, and just really believe in that and just practice, 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 and just go for it. Yeah.
Love that. So where can our listeners learn more from you?
Okay, so my photography website is redcherryimages.com.au. If they want to learn about how to be a preschool photographer, how to learn the way I do things, I've got a little mini course on preschool posing, which is a fabulous resource for anyone who's looking to maybe start out in preschool photography. So they go to artakindyphotography.com. So yeah, and there's all the information there.
Awesome. And we'll make sure we include that in the show notes too.
Thank you.
So I love to end my interviews just with this last question, and it is, what are you currently curious about or artistically curious about?
Yeah, so I guess when it comes to the photography side, I would love to create a competition, not a competition, but an awards on preschool photography. There's just nothing out there with preschool
Yeah.
photography. So I'm looking into that, and because I've got a community behind me, a Facebook group who are all preschool kindy photographers. So I'd love to introduce something like that because there is just nothing. There's children's categories, but I
Yep.
guess preschool is just another category on its own, and we're just a little bit forgotten about sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
I
that's what I
love
would
it.
sort of be a little bit creative, and yeah, it's not so much creative. It's probably just something I think missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Trina, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I've had so much fun. It's been so
It went by
lovely to
so
chat with
fast,
you.
right? Oh, my beautiful friends, I hope you have enjoyed this conversation just as much as I have. I am sending you so much of my light and my love today and every single day. We'll see you next time.